friends, it's Ian from RDO here. Welcome to part 2. Just a technical problem here. Welcome to part 2 of the Fela Kuti album ranking. Last week we did 38 up to number 20. Today we are going to do 19 up to number 1. So we'll just do a recap. If you haven't watched the video, I'm sure you have, but we'll have a recap. So 38 we had Napwire, 37 we had Unknown Soldier, 36 we had Authority Stealing, 35 was Excuso, 34 Sorrow, Tears and Blood, 33 Aiko Blindness, 32 was Aphrodisiac, number 30 was Zombie, number 29 was Alagabon Close, number 28 Teacher Don't Teach Me Nonsense, 27 Original Sufferhead, 26 was ATT The International Thief, 25 we had Confusion, 24 was Beasts No Nation, 23 Everything Scatter, 22 Shakara, number 21 Stalemate, and number 20 was Music of Many Colours. So today we'll conclude the album ranking of Fela Kuti. We've really enjoyed, we've had great discussions on the live stream regarding Fela Kuti, and there's a lot of fans out there. So let's continue. So coming in at number 19 then is from 2008, and it's Lagos Baby, and 19 at 63 to 69, so it's recordings that he made between these years. So the first one is called Bonfu. Now this is a very sort of traditional sort of jazz sound, pretty good. I love the piano on that one. Then we get Fora, and you get this sort of Latino percussion feel to it. It's got some lovely trumpet in that one. Pretty good track that is. Then we get On Fear number 2. Again, we got a real groovy little percussion there. The trumpet sounds good. Excellent little track. Then we get Ojo. Some nice singing here from Fela. You get that lovely rhythm and that response. Old Cool Ruka. These last few tracks have all been on the same sort of theme and rhythm, and this just continues this sort of Latino sort of feel to it. Really good track. Then we go Awu. Now this has gone a bit further up into the Caribbean. It's got a very nice Caribbean feel to it. Some nice guitar on that one. Really good track. Great kids. Great little bass line on this with some super trumpet to throw in the mix. Alchemy's Blues, a nice combination of jazz guitar and trumpet here. Really works well on that track. Yazie's more jazz blues guitar. I love the jazz blues. It's really good. Egbin, very different tempo gone. This has gone back to, we got some small horns. Not the best recording, but you get the gist of this. Oris sounds like that it could have come straight off a 1970s American cop show. Pretty good. Then we get EK. The bass line works well. The only thing about this one is the trumpet seem to be playing something totally different to what everyone else is. I've just gone off on one. VC7, pretty groovy. There's lots of great trumpet on this album, and this is one of them. I Know That Feeling comes next. A bit of a mishmash this is. Reminds me of this, as my granddad used to describe jazz. 15-inch musicians all playing different tunes, and that's a bit like that. Got signature tune, which is like a sort of an intro to the next one, High Lifetime. Great vocal. Then we get my favourite track on there. It's called Lagos Baby. Really nice saxophone in this, so that's probably Fela Kuti playing it. Then we got O To Me Soul, quite good. All For Me, my Nigerian is not very good. A bit of a bustle this one, it's okay. Abra's Delight. Yeah, tell these are very early recordings. You know, you got to get, you know, he's still trying to find his groove. And we got Wadele, all over the place. Lassie, I love the bass line, great vocal on that one. My Me, very good track, very solid. It's starting to come together what he wants. Then we got Orinle, some great horns on that. Omo Joe, really good. And then we've got Every Day I Got My Blues. These are all live tracks from now on. Moti Grobo, Waka Waka, Alco Okora, Leiso, Undi Neuro, Abara, CE Tundi, Waka Waka, Maybe My Baby Don't Love Me, and Home Cooking. It's a great little 3-disc set. The live stuff is incredible. It creates that sound. It's a really good album. It's a little bit of history of the early years of Fela Kuti, sorry. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.1. Okay, then coming in at number 18. It's from 1972. It's an album called Follow Fight. So we've gone back to the few tracks, but there's 3 tracks on this, and you got the first one, which is Row 40 Fight. I love this. The percussion. It's got that beat where you cannot help but tap your feet, and then you've got that wonderful backing vocal response to Fela Kuti's singing. Really good track. Then we have a track called Trouble Sleep Yanko, Wake Am. Saxophone in here. It reminds me of Lee Thompson's saxophone playing. I wonder if Lee Thompson from Madness was a fan of Fela Kuti. Probably my favourite one on the album. This is really good. I like that. And then we got Question, Jam, Answer. Some lovely electric piano on this. The drumming is proper jazz drumming. Fantastic little track as well. Again, this album is just based around a certain percussion sound. They just use different instruments. The saxophones and trumpets are good on here. Enjoy them. A most enjoyable album. One of the longer albums as well. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, coming in number 17, we go to the year 1975 and an album called He Misrode. First track is the title track, He Misrode. This one's a little bit different. Got some really, he's introducing organ on here. And you got that lovely response between Fela and the girls. I love listening to that. Sometimes you don't know what they're saying, but this the response, and you know, he sings high. It's really interesting. I like that track. Then we have Monday Morning in Lagos. This is sort of some of that early created sound. There's little bits that you've heard on that first album we had at number 19 from, you know, Baby Lagos. I think he's took bits from that and put it into this. It's really good. It's got a really great vocal from Fela Kuti on that one. It's Impossible. No, it is not. No possible. Sorry. The combination here of saxophones and that jazz guitar. It's got one of the best saxophone solos that I've heard on by Fela Kuti. Another great track, great album. It's just hard because these are all really good albums, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, coming in at number 16, we get to 1976, an album called Yellow Fever. 2 tracks on here. One is an original and one is a redo. So the original track is Yellow Fever. Some nice little guitar bits on here. I love it when the drums come in. They sort of whisper and then they come in. Got some bongos on this, and I love the trumpets. Really, really good. And then we get the second track in here is Na Poir, the 1975 version, and he's really improved on the original. There's more depth to it. It's more structured, and out of the two I prefer the later version. Yellow Fever is really good, and you get the added bonus of a re-recording of Napua, which is, as I said, much better. So it's not a bad little disc. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay then, coming in at number 15 we have another album from 1976, and it is called Unnecessary Begging. This opens up with Unnecessary Begging. It's got a really strong bass line on this one. It runs through the whole track, and it's one of them tracks where everyone sort of hooks onto the bass line and then puts their little piece in. There's some lovely saxophone that runs through this all the way through. It comes back, it comes in. Really good track. Really enjoyed that one. And then we got a track called No Birdie, which is no bread. Just that typical Fela Kuti vocal. Sometimes you don't understand what he's saying because obviously he's singing his natural tongue, but the backing singers, it makes it interesting, the responses. It just makes it great listening. Even though I don't understand the language, I get the vibe from the song. Another really good album. There's no boring stuff about Fela Kuti music. This is a strong album, even at number 15. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, number 14. This is from 1971, and it's called Why Black Man They Suffer. First track is the title track. Typical beat. You've got Ginger Baker playing drums on this, which really does add to it. He really got into the groove on this. There's just some nice guitar work on this. Another terrific track. Then we have Ikoe Mentality versus Mushin Mentality. Once again, some great drumming from the legendary Ginger Baker. What a good drummer he is. He can play blues. He can play this sort of jazzy stuff. Absolutely brilliant track. Another great album. A bonus when you got Ginger Baker playing drums on it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO's ranking of 7.6. Okay then, coming in at number 13, we go to 1992 now, so we're one of his later albums, and it's called Underground System. The first one is called Underground System. Now this is 30 minutes, and it's got a really dominant bass line. The percussion is good on this. This is one of them that sort of gathers at speed as it goes on, and when the singing comes in, the responses are really good. When you hear Fela singing, you wonder what you're going to get next with the response, and there's some interesting, some are high pitch, some are low pitch, and some of the same pitch as Fela. It's really good. I wonder if I would love to see how they recorded that, because were they in the same room, or was it? But it really is good. Then we get a track called Panzer Panzer. This is 17 minutes long, so it's quite a long track again. So the drumming and the bass line, that engine room of this track. Again, everything else seems to work around the drums and the bass. These little keyboard stabs come in, the horns come in. Then you get this sort of keyboard sort of virtuoso at the end. Really good. And this really builds up into a great crescendo at the end. Let me get another track on here. It's called Confusion Breakbones. You get a sort of different thing. This is very jazzy, more jazz than is sort of normal Latino mix of jazz. Very, very good vocal on here. I love this track. This is absolutely a brilliant album. It's quite a long album, but the music is intense and fun, and I really enjoy this album. And it's only at number 13 in the ranking, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.7. Okay then, coming in at number 12. This is another one from 1976. Very busy in 76, and this one's called Upside Down. We start off with Upside Down. This has got that samba feel to it. Little keyboard stabs. Saxophone on here is terrific. This is a really excellent track. Then we have Go Slow. This again is a variation of Upside Down. It's got the same percussion sound, and then you get some different sort of instruments. I think there's a clarinet on here as well, and a real tenor bass or a tenor bass saxophone. I can't quite make it out, but it really adds an extra depth to this. It's really interesting how at the start of it you've got the saxophone and the trumpet playing different sort of tunes, and they gradually come together and then they match. Very clever how that happens. It's a great track. Another really good album. It's one of them again that I couldn't give it. I have to go and give this one a 7.7 as well, because these two are so equal, Upside Down and Underground System. But this one's at number 12 because I just think there's something about that track when the saxophone comes together. Okay, coming in at number 11, we have it from 1990 now, and it's ODOOO, which is Overtake, Don, Overtake, Overtake. So the first track is ODOO. This starts, and it's the only track on here, so it's just one track at 31 minutes. This starts with a nice gentle bass percussion, and then 2 or 3 minutes in, you can see the percussion, it just sort of goes up a little bit. When the saxophone comes in, it sort of has that extra layer, and then it starts to speed up again. Then in the middle you get Fela Kuti and the girls doing the singing, and then it sort of it builds up to this emotional sort of sound, and then the horns come in. It's very clever how it sort of speeds up, but you don't notice it as much. But it's just one of these incredible tracks put together, and I love it. And I think it's very clever how they did this. So I'm definitely giving this one an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay, we've reached the top 10. The rest of them were hard, but the top 10 was even harder for me. I toiled with this, but in the end I just stopped. So coming in at number 10, we go to 1973 now for Gentleman, and it's recorded with his Africa 70 band as well. So the first track is Gentleman. One of the great vocals from Fela Kuti on this. I love the keyboards on this. It's just one of them tracks you can float away on. And then we get a track called Igby, and in brackets it's nah shit. One of my favourites on here. It's got that samba feel. I love that percussion. When you hear that samba sort of percussion, it really makes you do that. Great little track. Okay, then we have another track called go get this, Fi Ni Fi. That's it. This one, it's a bit different. It goes straight into the track with some horns, the singing. You just don't understand what he's saying, but it's got so much emotion. You can pick up the emotion in it. It's just a great little track. Another great album. Lots of emotion in the singing on this one. Just because you don't understand the language doesn't mean you don't get the feeling in that singing. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 19 is, I do believe, his very first album, and it's called Fela from 1969. It was reissued as the 69 Los Angeles sessions as well. But on here we have My Lady Frustration. Great horns. I love the singing on this. The responses, very good. Viva Nigeria. This is quite funny. Even though it's called Viva Nigeria, it's got more of a Caribbean feel to it. It actually reminds me of the music I heard when I was in the Dominican Republic. Because Dominican, of course, that's on the island of Hispaniola. You've got Haiti one side and Dominica, and this has got more the Dominican Republic is more of a Latino sort of influence than, you know, like Jamaica. It's got that feel to it. It's really good. I love that track. It's a very short track. Then we got Obey, which I know means stew in Nigerian. It's a very short track, which is very unusual for Fela Kuti, but it's good. It's really warm and soft drums. Very good. And then we got Akko, another very short track. It's got a really nice bass line on this one. It's a great vocal from Fela. Love that track. Witchcraft, the drumming on this is so clean and crisp. It's got the usual sort of things going on in the background, you know, the horns and all that, and another enjoyable track. Then we got Wayo version 2, my favourite track on here because again the drumming, there's some great drumming on this album. Then we get Lover, some jazzy blues here, really good, lots of atmosphere and a great sound on that. Then we get Funky Horn, as it suggests, there's some funky horns on this, which is really good, so catchy. Then we got Elko Elk, another good track, some great sort of jazz sounds on this, very good track. This is Sad, again very solid, great combinations of horns, saxophones, very good track. That was the last album. First official album's got some great tracks on here. You could see how he went and developed. I like listening to this. It's got so many different moods on it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we go to 1977 now. And an album called Shuffering and Schmilling. I think that's pronounced it. And the first track on this one is the title track, Shuffering and Shimmering, and this is the vocal version. A really good track. The vocals are so, again, you don't understand what it's saying in places, but they're so meaningful, and there's a lot of emotion in that, and it really adds to the atmosphere of this track. Then we get the instrumental version, which is really good. It's just as good as the vocal, but they've added a bit of electric piano in there instead of like the vocal. It's very good how they've done that. It is really good. Then we have a track called Perambulta. Now this is quite groovy. It's got some lovely trumpet on it, and it's got that sort of shimmery sort of samba feel. Now with this one, he remixed it in 1983, and it was a French reissue. But I couldn't see much difference in the tracks. But there you go. I don't know if it's, I don't know if they just reissued it as a French 12-inch single or whatever, but yeah, but I do like it. The whole album's pretty cool again, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay, coming in at number 7, this is from 1975. and it's called Noise for Vendor Mouth. Opens up with the title track, Noise for Vendor Mouth. Now, in the there's guitar on this, but it's more in the background. It's sort of you hear it, but it's not dominant because it's dominated by the horns. But when you listen to it under headphones, you definitely hear that chink of that guitar, and it's an incredible guitar line. It's sort of, you hear it more under the headphones. It just brings a little bit extra to the track. Very, very good track. Then we got Mattress. The guitar is in the background again. It holds the track together. Just a fantastic musicianship on this. Brilliant. I think this is a really good album, and what I like about this, it's the underlying guitar that is the icing on the cake on this album. You get the classic saxophone and trumpets, but it's that underlying guitar that really holds this together. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.4. Okay, then coming in at number 6, I've got a 1985 now, and it's called Army Arrangement. Now this, when I was doing some research into this, it's sort of a bit of a protest towards the Nigerian army. The first track is called Army Arrangement, and it's one of those tracks, longer tracks, that starts off with a great groove. The saxophones come in, and then when Fela starts singing, you know you're going to get that wonderful response. It's quite aggressive, and the responses are quite subtle. So again, it's really good. And then there's a bit where the responses are spoken. Really works. It's really good. And then we get Government Chicken Boy. Some lovely drums on here. You get some lovely gentle guitar. Then that gets swallowed up by the horn section. The keyboards come through, and then we get that lovely halfway through. Fella starts singing. I just love it. You get Fella doing da da da, and the girls go dee 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 dooba dooba dee. It's wonderful to listen to this, and under the headphones it does it. You get one in here, and it's great fun to listen to. And I like it when the brass comes in at the end just to end it. And one of the longer albums, but it's got some great music, and that's all I'm going to say. I just love this album. So it's going to get an RTO ranking of 8.5. Coming at number 5, it's probably my favourite album title. It's from 1976 again, a busy old year fella in 76, and it's called Before I Jump Like a Monkey, Give Me a Banana. I just love that title. First track on here is called Monkey Banana. Got some great guitar on here. It's nice. I do like that when the guitar takes centre stage. The structure of the song, the riff's good. The keyboard's now in the background as a supporting act. You can get the interplay between the guitar and the keyboards is really good. One of the best tracks, I think. Then we get Sense Wiseness. The first 3 or 4 minutes of this is 12 minutes. It's just percussion and keyboards, and it's a really sort of electric groove. But when the horns come in, it just boom, takes it to another dimension. And when Fella starts singing again, it's just fantastic. It's a well put together track. I really like this album because there's a lot of keyboard in this, and it's quite a good sound. And then you got some lovely electric piano in, which I love. So this is I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, coming in at number 4. This is from 1971, and it's called Fella's London Scene. Again, it's got some very interesting spelling, so I'll do my very best. We've got Iain, groovy track, electric piano on it, percussions, really good. Just love this track. considering it's supposed to be in London, it sounds more like he's in the Caribbean somewhere. Ebe Mayo. It's not very often that you get a track where Fela comes straight in with singing, and he does on this, and the response comes from horns on this one. It's interesting how they do it. Halfway through of this one, the electric piano comes in with a nice groovy solo, which is fantastic. Then the backing vocals come in as well. It's really strong track. Then we get Who You Are, Who You. Very commercial for Fela Kuti. It's really modern, sort of 1970s jazz. It's really, really, really good. Like By Africa, this probably is the most radio-friendly Fela Kuti song. So catchy. He's never done a track like this, but it's very good. It's got the rhythms, it's got the vocals, it's got all what you do in the Fela Kuti long tracks condensed to 5 minutes and 51 seconds. Very, very good track. Fight to Finish. As much as I love the long tracks from Fela Kuti, the short ones are really good. It's very condensed. Again, this could have been played on the radio. Very friendly, approachable sort of sound. And this is the sort of sound that I would get people who have not listened to this. Go and listen to this album, because it sort of gives you a good backing. Last track on the album. As I said, this is the album I recommend if you've never heard Fela Kuti all the way through, because it's short, sharp tracks. It's a little bit commercial, and then you can go and dive off into the more elaborate stuff. But I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 8.8. Now the top 3 were so hard. Any of these 3 could be number 1. For me, these are the best Fela Kuti albums in this long and his distinguished career. They are just 3 that I do play a lot now. I'm always playing these 3. So coming in at number 3, we got a 1971 and Open and Close. And this is my favourite track by Fela Kuti. What I like about this, horns, drums, keyboards. And they sort of entwine with each other, and then you get the singing, and then a lovely bit of guitar thrown in as well. Absolutely brilliant track. Then we have a track called Sway Bay and Paco. It's got a great bass line on this, and the vocal is so emotional. Again, I just find his singing so emotional. He puts so much into it. And then we got Gabada Gabodo. This is sort of a mixture of Open and Close and Swaggy and Paco put together. I love how he's done this, and it really works. And you got the keyboard from Open and Close, which is a great little keyboard run. It was very experimental with Fela Kuti, and again, it's another track that works. 3 great tracks on here, so addictive to listen to this. It's one of the best albums, and I just love playing this. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming at number 2 from 1977, and it's No Agreement. Now, the first track is called No Agreement. Now, this was actually the first Fela Kuti album I listened to. And I just fell in love with it. I love saxophones, and there's some great saxophone on this. And it really complements the trumpets and the horns. It just sounds so great. Then the second track on here is Dog Eat Dog. Again, I'd just like to know if Lee Thompson has been influenced by Fela Kuti's saxophone playing. It's really good. This this sound could have been on any Madness album. It's just an incredible instrumental piece of progressive jazz. Absolutely top drawer. 30 minutes of saxophone driven music is incredible. That's why it is a brilliant album. Or 12-inch, I'm not quite sure. You just don't know with Fela Kuti. But I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. So my favourite album, or 12-inch, I think this is a full-length album. It's got a rude title, but I love it. It's 1975, and it's called Expensive Shit. And the title track is the Expensive Shit. One of my favourite tracks ever. I just love this, and the reason being, again, it's got such a great saxophone on it. And I think this is one of the best pieces of music that it's done. Some lovely rhythms on this as well. This is one of them tracks that you have to listen to under the headphones. It just takes you away into some sort of jazz odyssey. Okay, it's a bit rude in places, and it's politically driven, but hey, it's an amazing piece of music. Then the next track, and the last track, is Water No Get Enemy. This is another of my favourite tracks. I think it's got that gentle guitar in the background that sort of holds this one together. Then it comes into the foreground as well. Great saxophone on this. Little bits of daunting little electric piano. Absolutely amazing. Two great songs on this that are of high quality. The vocal arrangements are amazing. It's just 24 minutes of wonderful music, and it's just exciting, vibrant. Like the whole of his catalogue is so vibrant. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.5, sorry. So there we go, 2 weeks of wonderful music, and I have had so much of a blast listening to Fela Kuti. I'm very hooked on Fela Kuti now. I haven't put any music in the playlist because they are so long, but most of the albums, all his stuff is on Spotify. Go and have a listen. Okay, that's all for today. If I have missed any, please put them in the comments below and I will review them at a later date. Okay, tomorrow we've got another round of Battle Royale, and it is my good friend Richard McCook's Simon and Garfunkel up against Rockin' All Over the World from the Dark Lord. Two albums of total contrast, so it'll be interesting how that one goes. And tomorrow also is Pick and Mix, and it's mixing it up. So we're going to be looking at a producer, and we're going to look at Reinhold Mack, but we just know him as Mack. Known for working with bands such as Queen, and he started his life off as a sound engineer for ELO, so he's worked with some great people. So that's all for tomorrow. Have a great day everyone, and bye for now.